Hello everyone, you're watching Sightline on MNB World. Today we have a very special guest, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of India to Mongolia, Mr. MP Singh. So as we know, the Saturday, August the 15th, marks the establishment of free and independent nation of India. So I'd like to say happy upcoming Independence Day to you.
I thank you. It's such a momentous occasion for India that we would be celebrating. Unfortunately, this year happens to be a bit of full of challenges, but notwithstanding that, we would still be having a solemn event to commemorate this historic occasion of India's independence here in Mongolia.
Okay, so thank you. And this year also remarks the 65th anniversary of the diplomatic relations between our countries. And before we talk about the diplomatic relations, I'd like to revise the long historical relations our country have had for thousands of years. And what can you say about the non-diplomatic relations between the two countries?
First, you referred to something very correctly, the long and historical relations between India. They date back to thousands of years. The civilizational deep-rooted ties between India and Mongolia have been nurtured through centuries, through various tenets of Buddhism, tenets of spiritual connectivity, and the people-to-people contact. Many historians believe, I'm referring to Mongolian historians, and I'm particularly referring to a book by the first Prime Minister, Mr. Amar, in 1924, which refers to the connect that dates back to the Hunnu Empire days. So I would say the connect happened through the vehicle of Buddhism. It traversed from the Indian Himalayas into Mongolian steppes, and then connected the two people, bringing the spiritual connectivity and binding our two peoples.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for reminding us our long historical relations. And I also want to dig into the past a little bit more. Since the establishment of diplomatic relations in 1955, Mongolians and Indians have supported each other on many occasions, such as Mongolians appreciate India's support in our membership in the United Nations in 1961. So what other milestones and key events have happened between our countries since we became diplomatic partners?
You see, it's so abstract to put them in such a short frame of time. You correctly referred to the relationship between our two countries. When Mongolia became independent and applied for United Nations membership, India was one of the first countries to support it. And the Prime Minister Nehru actually argued the case and said as to why should Mongolia not become member of the United Nations. And that set the tone of India's engagement and eventually, of course, Mongolia becoming. Yes, this cooperation continued, India supporting Mongolia and becoming member of non-aligned movement. And then later, of course, our relationship has been mutual. It was respect for each other's decisions. Mongolia also facilitated the resolution which India brought when Bangladesh came into existence for the reason. And in the recent times that there have been relationship waxed and waned. In 2015, Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji, made first ever historic visit to Mongolia. And that brought a paradigm shift. That opened a new chapter of cooperation. The first came from Prime Minister Modi's visit was, of course, 13 agreements were signed in various sectors, starting not only going beyond the normal cultural, economic, trade cooperation, capacity building, defense, security, and education, many others. And that set the tone. And during that visit, Prime Minister also announced $1 billion soft credit for development of infrastructure of Mongolia, which of course later has become 1.236 billion. And in keeping with the decision of Mongolian government, this would be applied for constructing the first oil refinery. But it's not confined to that alone. That 2015 visit has brought a new direction into our relationship. And then we started to have something which put our relationship at a much higher pedestal. India became strategic partner with Mongolia. And you know that Mongolia has strategic partnership with five countries. And the last being, India. Yeah, that's correct. So that shows the kind of transformation that had happened. From the erstwhile routine iteration of friendship, it became an active engagement. India started participating in conquest, multilateral movements.
Like every year.
Instituted the bilateral military mechanism where nomadic elephant military exercises are held between our two countries. The decision was also taken to set up Atal Bihari Center of Excellence in IT, communication technology and outsourcing. We would soon be looking to set up a cyber training center here in Mongolia. Many initiatives, and as we go along, these are only consolidating our cordial ties with Mongolia. And of course, bilaterally, we have an arrangement in the sector of space and audit and marketing and at the banking and financial level. So suddenly you see the people-to-people connectivity has enhanced. The spiritual connect that has come to be established between our two countries is now manifesting in this year. So I'm pretty sure the horizon is quite bright for our two countries.
Okay, so on the occasion of the 65th anniversary of the diplomatic relations, what events have you been planning and how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected this?
Well, it's a year which has beset the whole of world. It's a challenging time. But I say, even in this period of time, our relationship has thrived. India, as a special case, accorded export permission for 100,000 worth of paracetamol and hydrochloroquine to Mongolian companies. And in addition, the first ever COVID management program, the training program online, was attended by the two doctors from NCCD. So I would say, notwithstanding COVID, this relationship, which has come to signify, has thrived. Now coming to the point of 65th anniversary.
Ceremonial activities.
Well, we had, I would say, the grand plans. The grand plans included visit of VVIP from India, and of course, holding of India Festival, not only within UB, but across Mongolia. We were planning to have an Indian Film Festival, an international seminar on India, Mongolia, past, present, and future theme. We were planning to exchange experts between the two Ministry of Cultures. We were also planning to have the cultural troops from India. And of course, there are two more initiatives that we have been able to complete but could not unveil. One was the printing of a commemorative stamp in Mongolia marking 65th anniversary of India-Mongolia diplomatic relations. It's ready to be unveiled, and we will find a suitable opportunity to unveil this stamp. And also, with the help of Mongol Bank, we have printed coins on Mahatma Gandhi. So this is all done, and but we are waiting it to happen. And not only these are the things which we are planning to do, and I think we will be scheduling it a little differently. In January this year, we did two big events. First was holding a painting competition, again under the theme India, Mongolia, past, present, and future. And you would be surprised that this was done with the help of Creativity Center and Children Palace. And in addition, of course, recently we set up India-Mongolia Friendship Garden by planting trees in the national park. So this was the second thing. And the third thing was the concert, that on the occasion of Republic Day of India in January, we organized a concert. The concert was organized one day before the restrictions for COVID came into place. So yeah, we were able to do all that, and we have on the anvil many more projects. Our projects of cooperation include there's a project that we are trying to do for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the solarification of that using the renewable solar energy and doing that. Later, going along, we have plans to do the earth-breaking ceremony, or as we call it, for the construction of Atal Bihari Center of Excellence in IT near Mongolian University of Science and Technology. This will be capable of training up to 5,000 Mongolian IT professionals. So yeah, these are some of the initiatives that are on, but there are many on the anvil.
So, Mr. Singh, what other big plans do you have for the 65th anniversary of diplomatic relations?
Yeah, I think carrying forward, as I said, that the theme of the 65th anniversary is dedicated to India and Mongolia, so which is summed up in a slogan that we have coined. The slogan is shared heritage, strategic partnership, and promising future. And as you started your interview with the historical discussion on our relationship and on to the present one. And I'd say some of the big projects that we are planning to do is starting the construction of Atal Bihari Center of Excellence in IT. The other is the setting up of cyber training center. And then we are looking at the bigger plan of discussing of training 1,000 Mongolian English teachers here in Mongolia. We are also planning to have the digitization of ancient Buddhist scriptures that are available in many of the monasteries. And this is one project that has been moving pretty strongly, and I think we should be doing it. And in addition, we are looking forward at implementing a proposal which we received for installing the artificial glacier in Hovd province. For the last few years there have been drought-like conditions over there, and there was a shortage of water during summer months, and several other initiatives that are going along with these within the framework of the 4 agreements that were signed during the visit of President Vatulka are on, and setting up of Mongolia India Business Council is another initiative that is likely to come up this year.
That you're granting over $1.2 billion US. And what benefits do you see from this refinery project?
Well, I think the answer lies in your question itself. This refinery, which is capable of producing 1.5 million metric ton of oil, not only diesel, aviation fuel, kerosene, all of the energy needs. It sums up to about 70 to 80% of Mongolia's total need as of today, which is to say the Mongolian oil is exported out, and Mongolia imports the refined oil. And the gap between that is huge. So this USD $1.236 billion refinery is a very vital and strategic project between India and Mongolia, which aims to bring in the energy security. Now, more than that, oil is something that touches each activity of within the economy, especially Mongolia, which is landlocked between two big countries. Everything has to be transported. Now, as per one of the ADB studies, the transportation cost itself raises the cost of product somewhere between 18 to 25%, depending upon what kind of import is being done. And likewise, the exports of Mongolia, for example, coal, for example, rare earth minerals and all, copper, are getting impacted. And once we have this energy security, I would say there's a great amount of certainty. And economic aspects of this refinery are going to touch the trickle-down effect will touch every single activity, whether it is transportation, whether it is, I would say, the general carriage of goods, mobility of the people, anything, any activity, the spin-off benefits would be huge.
Okay, so my next question is, what else has been done to strengthen the social, political, and the cultural ties between Mongolia and India, especially like after you have taken your tenure as ambassador to Mongolia?
Well, thank you. You are telling me that how I continued. I look back at my performance. I'm glad to inform you that if we go by the barometer of bilateral economic trade between India and Mongolia, 2018 figures were touching $50 million bilateral trade, which is quite substantial if you look at the previous figures. And now going on to the other aspects, the political. Last year we were able to arrange visit of President Batulg to India. Very successful visit that was the first by any Mongolian president in 10 years. So this kind of brought in that new dynamism and consolidated our cordial ties that are going on. 4 agreements were signed during the visit and 3 privately, and I am glad to inform you that that action on at least all 4 of them have started, notwithstanding COVID challenges.
That's great news.
We were also fortunate that we were able to have last year 2 visits of your mining minister to India, and previously we had our home minister and our external affairs minister, our petroleum minister visiting Mongolia. So this kind of continued the momentum. And in terms of social, I'm not saying that we were leaving our social obligations. We are running Indian Hindi language classes up here. We are also running the dance training sessions in Indian dance by Mongolian students. We planted 700 trees and saplings in the National Park. We have embarked on a project of cooperation in dairy and animal husbandry sector. Coming to the cultural, as I said, I mentioned to you about the movie 55 episode Buddha serial, which is now being re-telecast at the popular demand of public. Last year we brought the mask dance, what we call as a cham dance here from India. We are embarking on digitization of manuscripts, as I told you already. The book of Professor Nemdava, who is your former ambassador in India, is already being printed. We have increased the number of scholarship for Mongolia. Now it is up to 300 scholarships are offered. So all of these cover the political, social and cultural aspects of our relationship, which is thriving by each passing day.
Our time is actually unfortunately coming to an end, and my last question is, I would like to finish our conversation by talking about what the future holds for Indo-Mongolian relations.
You have the answer to this part in my slogan, which I said, promising future.
Promising future.
As I say, we have that wonderful relationship which is rooted in our shared heritage, but the best in our relationship is yet to come, be it whatever, and we need to work towards that, and I commit myself to work towards that. In India's, again, Act East policy, Mongolia is one of the important countries. We are one of the 5 strategic partners. India recognizes the need for mutually reinforcing an interdependent development path with Mongolia, and takes it not just as normative imperative, but as a very conscious choice that to move ahead as development partners, to strengthen our capacity building, our respect for each other, and to promote people-to-people contact, and the 3 pillars that form our relationship, I would say 3 Ds, Dharma, democracy, and development partnership get further reinforced and intensified. And I thank you very much for giving me this time, and to all your viewers, I wish them good luck, and I say long live India-Mongolia friendship. Baidla. Thank you.
Baidla. So thank you everyone for watching Sightline on MNB. Today we talked to Ambassador Extraordinary Plenipotentiary of India to Mongolia, His Excellency MP Singh.